Well, hello, everyone, and to our lovely, is it Miss Deshawn?
Yvonne.
Miss Yvonne, okay. Miss Yvonne is in attendance and she was with us on last week, so welcome back. And for those of you that are not able to attend, as promised, the recording is being sent to you tonight or tomorrow, however it's going to take for it to download. But we are going to go ahead and proceed and begin our Series 3 class. Of course, for Series 1, most of you received your original law SeaMoss in the mail or it was delivered to you. So Series 1 was just talking about the different types of SeaMoss and giving you a full view of how to prepare and clean your SeaMoss. And of course, we had really, really good information there. Now, Series 2, hopefully you were able to watch that recording. Well, we talked about good information as far as what is fake, what is real, the different types. We went under the waters to see how things are growing under the waters, why it's growing under the water. It was so full of great information. And now you're here to our final preliminary series to the SeaMoss class. And this is where you're going to talk about the SeaMoss industry. So for those of you that are in business or you're interested in selling SeaMoss or tapping into the industry, this is the very most important class that you most definitely want to pay attention to. My studies go well beyond my experiences dealing with SeaMoss since 2016. So I've done a lot of research, lot of studies, a lot of case studies on what SeaMosses do for individuals, including myself. But I also have a lot of experience and insight on FDA regulations, all types of labeling requirements. And I pretty much have went through some of the challenges that you guys may encounter with going into the SeaMoss business. So I am inspired to bring this information to you as you tap into this business. So this class is going to be one of the very most important classes that you want to attend. So congratulations that you're here. Now, once you receive your video, we do ask that you do not share the video. All 3 series will be packaged together and provided with individuals in the future. So we're definitely going to continue to give this information out to those individuals that are wanting to proceed with knowing more about SeaMoss and getting very truthful, real information on what it is and what you need to know about the industry. So tonight's class, as you can see, this is our Series 3, Learning the SeaMoss Industry. So let's go ahead and go to our next slide. So for tonight's class, we're going to talk about the industry. We're going to talk about the growth rates in the industry. We're going to even review and go through some competitors. And knowing and going through your competitors, I don't want you to think about competitors in a negative term. You need to be able to research your competitors, know what's working, what's not working, so that way it gives you great ideas on how to move forward with your own SeaMoss businesses. So we're going to look at some of the top 19 companies throughout the world. And lo and behold, when you guys research it, most of these companies started well after I did. How I didn't make the list, I don't know. But these are very prominent manufacturing companies that have tapped into the industry. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit of how that has happened as well. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons in the industry. What are the projected concerns in the industry? We're going to talk about different SeaMoss products that you maybe even want to consider, like hair and body items and what people are using them for in the industry. So that way you get an idea of what you can do. It goes well beyond the SeaMoss gel. Okay, well beyond the gel. So I definitely want to talk to you about that. We're going to also talk about cooking with SeaMoss and knowing the different classifications and agents of SeaMoss that helps you to sell the SeaMoss on the market as well. So as I stated last week, I do apologize that we need to change that. But this is one class I did not want to rush through. I want to be very detailed and go over some extremely important information that you need to know. So let's go ahead and tap into the industry. So you may have heard me mention my preliminary story previously in previous classes, but this is a great time for me to repeat how I tapped into the industry, what has happened, and what has happened over time. So back in 2016, I was diagnosed with PCOS, and I woke up and there was bags in my eyes, and I couldn't figure out exactly, what it was, and no doctor could tell me what it was. And I was also normally over 320 pounds. So listening and practicing what Dr. Sebi with the African Biomineral Balance had taught us, I then started to consume SeaMoss in the more natural form. Now, back in 2006, I actually traveled to Jamaica, and I was there for about 9 days in Jamaica because there was a funeral. My friend's father had passed. And that's when I was very much so first introduced to SeaMoss. But at that time, the young lady was making this peanut punch, and then she made this SeaMoss and put this SeaMoss in this peanut punch. And then the punch that she made was called Irish Moss. So from my experience, Irish Moss is a drink that they named Irish Moss in Jamaica. Now, there has been some recent, talk about there was in Ireland, there was some type of potato depletion or something like that, famish. And the people in the Irish was eating the SeaMoss in order to survive. And that's where the name Irish SeaMoss come from. I am reading several stories about that, but I cannot say that I am confirmed that to be factual as of yet. But what I know to be factual for myself is when the young lady in Jamaica pulled the SeaMoss out of the waters, she said, "This is SeaMoss." She mixed it with something called in glass. She put in some carnation milk, a whole lot of sugar, and some peanuts, and crushed up the peanuts pretty much all day and made a drink called Irish Moss. And so that's what I get my titles from. So that was my first time being introduced. Now, naturally, I have communicated with a lot of people from the islands. At one point, I didn't even date anybody unless they was from out of the country. Don't ask me why, that's too much information. All right. So I've, communicated with a lot of people. So one of my exes also was Jamaican, and we would make it all the time. We would get the SeaMoss, and we would mix it with the carnation milks, a whole lot of sugar, something called in glass, and a few other ingredients that I can't remember right now to make the drink Irish Moss. And men in Jamaica would drink this Irish Moss to give them some strength and help the blood flow in that area, when they wanted to please their lady friends. They would just be very heavy on this peanut punch or / SeaMoss. Right. So in 2016, when I heard Dr. Sebi speaking about this SeaMoss, and I also started consuming herbs, changing my diet, and taking the SeaMoss, but I took the SeaMoss in the most natural form. I did not add any of the milk and the in glass. I did not make an Irish Moss drink at that time. I just made plain SeaMoss and started to consume that SeaMoss. And the benefits to me was so amazing. My skin cleared up. My digestive systems was so much better. I had already stopped eating the wheat at that time. So the weight had started to decrease, but the weight just started to it was just dropping off once I started the herbs and the SeaMoss. So with me being so inspired by that, I started to teach individuals about it all the time and created the Sabian Alkaline Hall group, where individuals will come to this group to learn more about the African Biomineral Balance, and SeaMoss was our priority. Now, at that time, back in 2016, up into 2019, I will put out so much awareness about SeaMoss. But people didn't believe me. In the Sabian Alkaline Hall, we still had, troubles getting people to know what we were talking about, getting people to try it. It's just people just thought that we were crazy. And it was not talked about. It was not discovered. It was just you guys are crazy. You guys need to eat some food. You don't know what you're talking about, rah, rah, rah. So the pandemic hits. right? The pandemic hits in 2020. Well, I said 2022. The pandemic hit in 2020, and several people got a hold and then began to try the SeaMoss because they couldn't find answers for the pandemic thingy, I call it. So they couldn't find answers, and scientists couldn't find answers, doctors couldn't find answers. So this opened up the space for individuals to listen to us herbalists and naturalists that have always been trying to educate about SeaMoss all this time. So guess what? People started to try it everywhere. Congratulations to SeaMoss Transformations. A young man, I don't remember his name, he took it to Shark Tank and actually gained some, support, some financial support. And from that moment, the world then starts to talk about SeaMoss. So now, I don't know if you've ever been in business before. The way that the market moves, if you didn't know before now, the economy and the market moves by what you buy, what you purchase. And there's data with everything that you purchase, everything that you buy. There's even in your neighborhoods, there's data systems that you can Google your zip code, and your zip code will identify what people spend in that area, what they're buying in that area, if they're college educated or not. Like every time you spend in certain areas, there's data that goes with that. And that data helps market researchers, it helps businesses make their decision on what they want to sell, how much they want to sell, and how they're going to establish their target market or target audience. So now, since the world is talking about SeaMoss, everybody is on SeaMoss now. This is the moment where you're going to see and have already started to see SeaMoss everywhere. You can go on Walmart right now and you can find powdered SeaMoss. Now, I bought it and I opened it and I closed it because it definitely didn't smell too fresh for me. Because when you start tapping into the market, I'm not naming any companies, but when you start tapping into the other side, people got to stretch it out, make the most dollars. It's all about making the money and increasing your profits at that time. Because of that, especially with the China, China knows, and they make their decisions on what we spend over here. So if it's something that we're buying tremendously, oh, you most certainly will find it on Alibaba, okay? And they tap into the market based on what we are spending, what we are talking about, and what our conversation is about. So as of 2020, the world is now talking about SeaMoss, 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 SeaMoss. What do you do? SeaMoss, SeaMoss elderberry, SeaMoss gummies, SeaMoss this, SeaMoss everywhere. So of course, the market is now tapping in. So as you can see, in just 1 year, from 2020 to 2021, the SeaMoss retail market grew by 14%. Now, that doesn't sound like a big number, but that's a big number when you're talking about the whole world, let alone just the United States of America. And right now, it is projected to increase a minimum of 10% every single year after this. So some of the high demands or the individuals that's tapping into the SeaMoss industry is one, vegans. It is extremely high percentage of SeaMoss purchases with individuals that identify themselves as vegan and individuals that are into the health and fitness lifestyle. They usually purchase health and fitness based products. They are tapping into SeaMoss, and of course the holistic world. So everything about these three is SeaMoss. So this is very, very important for you, and you're going to identify why as we move forward. So with your notes, this is where you definitely want to have some notes, because we're going to write down some stuff. I want you to write these two things down: the vegan population and the health and fitness population. Because going into business, you need to know what your target audience is. A lot of individuals will go into business. You say, oh, this is for everybody. Everybody can use it. But when you have that everybody mindset, it will actually hinder you because you want to focus on a target group of individuals that you want to market. And if anybody else tap in, okay, great, that's extra. They tapping in, great. But when it comes to your marketing and you building your business, you need to specify what is your target audience. What is the population that you're going to build your marketing around? What is the population that you want to tap into? And that target audience could be from an age group. It could be from race or ethnicity. It can be from your area, your community, worldwide, whatever it is that you want to market in your area. For me, my target audience is individuals that are living in food deserts. Family, women, and children, not children, women, most likely, women between the ages of 25 and 45 in food deserts is my personal target audience. Why would I choose women? Because usually a woman takes care of her man and takes care of her children. And because she is concerned with the health of her man and her children, I want to make sure that that's my target. Now, do men purchase from me? Of course, absolutely. At one time when I opened the restaurant, I had more men coming in than women. And it was very astonishing to me that I had more men wanting to, convert to the vegan lifestyle, and their women were not supportive. But that drove me even more to develop ways to bring more awareness to the women. Because at the end of the day, the woman is the one that's going to make the best decision for her family when it comes to their body, their health. Like Dr. Sebi has mentioned, the real healers is a woman. Because we have intuition, we have passion. We move with our emotion, but there's a reason that we move with our emotion, because we can tap into your heart. Whereas men, they just cut through. Hey, that makes sense, do it. No, they're not thinking emotionally like us, And you need that balance in the family, but it's something about a woman, we're more nurturing, okay? And so to actually get real, true healing and meet a person where they are, more than likely a woman is going to be able to do that. So health and fitness and vegan population is the two markets you want to make sure that you tap into. Now let's talk about what they're naming this SeaMoss and what the classifications are in the market. Now, this is also going to be very, very important, because as you start to establish your SeaMoss products, your wording on your labels is going to be critical for you. This is where you're going to tap into making sure that you're staying safe with FDA guidelines. And, you're staying safe and being in compliance. Now, if you are selling just SeaMoss, technically, I know in the state of Florida, but technically, if it's just SeaMoss, your company should be registered with the Department of Agriculture in your area, if it's just SeaMoss. Let me repeat that. If you're selling just SeaMoss, you're making SeaMoss gel, you're making SeaMoss drinks, you're making SeaMoss products, any type of products, then technically, when you open up your facility needs to be registered with the Department of Agriculture. SeaMoss currently is non-regulated. You do not need a license to sell SeaMoss. This is a natural substance that comes from the earth, and natural things cannot be regulated, just like herbs have no regulation and SeaMoss has no regulation. If you're selling SeaMoss, dry SeaMoss, the way that I provided to you, then you are not to tax SeaMoss. Now, when you mix the SeaMoss and you make a gel or make a product, you've done something to it and it's no longer in its most natural form, then this is where a license a lot of times is required. But it is not required through the FDA. You just need to have your facility registered with the Department of Agriculture in your area, and they'll come in and do periodic, inspections to make sure things are clean, things are in order. What's most important about SeaMoss and meeting FDA guidelines, where you can run into some issues or concerns with the FDA, is your labels and what you're classifying on your labels. If you are on your label saying that this is a dietary supplement that you have made, then yes, that needs to be regulated through the FDA facility, which means you would have needed to go register your building through the FDA, and it needs to be an FDA approved facility. And that is another certification outside of the Department of Agriculture. So if you're going to make medical claims and you're going to state those medical claims on your labels, you need to be registered with the Department of Agriculture, and you also need to be registered with the FDA. And registering with the FDA just means that you have an FDA approved facility. So a lot of the major companies that we will explore in tonight's class, most of them have FDA approved facilities. Now, in our market and what I usually call the community herbalists, a lot of us, we can't afford to have warehouses and factories and go through these necessary requirements that we need to have an FDA approved facility. So what's most important for us is making sure that we are using our words correctly and make sure that we're labeling our products correctly. What I don't have on the slide, which I'll send in an email, is an FDA disclosure that needs to be on your labels, which then says something like, this is not an FDA approved, you're not making any medical claims, and so on and so forth. All right. Now, another way around that, and how, if you have a facility or a grocery store and you're using EBT, which we call here in Florida, or if you're using food stamps or using the food stamp systems, I am a restaurant. My license is through the Department of Hotel and Restaurants. And because I am governed through the Department of Hotel and Restaurants, I am not required to have an FDA approved facility. I am also not required to go through the Department of Agriculture. I have a restaurant. I learned this because I applied for the FDA approval. And they called and let me know that I was not required because I have a restaurant. So with that being said, if you notice on all of my SeaMoss products and on my labels, it will say food thickener, and binding agent, stabilizers, softening and cleaning agents if you're using chemical products to clean with. I would probably even state this came up in the study when it comes to detoxifying agent. I would stay away from that. I wouldn't use that term, but this is one of the terms that they use. If you're using the antimicrobial and the antiviral agent, you most certainly will need to have the FDA disclosure, because that's kind of tipping on the line as well, because that is a medical claim. So when you are labeling your SeaMoss, you want to be very careful with the words that you use. So now, if you don't have a restaurant and you're just a community herbalist that sells SeaMoss, so you're not registered with Department of Hotels and Restaurants as a restaurant, and you're not registered with the FDA, then you may want to look and see if your area have what we have in Florida called the cottage law. With the cottage law, that gives you rights to make certain products in your home. Okay. But see, there was a TikTok video going around saying that they're going to stop with the SeaMoss. SeaMoss is going to be discontinued. They're taking it away. That is not the truth. What the law stated is that they are going to manage and have requirements as people that are selling the SeaMoss that would then have to report what they're selling, and the necessary ingredients in it. And you would just clearly have to report this to the FDA, but not be in an FDA approved facility. But you still would have to be governed through the Department of Agriculture or the Department of Hotels and Restaurants to do this legally. Now, the disclosure will save you a lot of times through lawsuits. If somebody, especially guys that do fruit in your SeaMoss. Fruit only lasts but so long. Mango lasts maybe 5 to 7 days. Pineapple is completely acidic. It will last maybe 2 to 3 days. So when you're putting fruit into the SeaMoss, it is the fruit in the SeaMoss that's going to go bad. And then you kind of have a whole jar of SeaMoss that you can't use because the fruit's gone bad. I should have brought my water. Where in which the SeaMoss itself will last up to 45 days in your refrigerator. So if you're putting fruit in your SeaMoss and somebody gets sick, then of course you're liable. So that's why it's also important that you have some type of insurance if that's the case. Because if somebody gets some type of food poisoning or something like that for eating bad fruit, then you're responsible for that. 1 second. Let me get some water. I did not take it out the car. So I gotta wait till the car come back. Okay, sorry about that. Bear with me because when I talk too much, my throat kind of get dry. And I left my water in the car. So this is why I do not use fruit in the SeaMoss. Because again, SeaMoss will last up to 45 days in your refrigerator as long as you have a hole in the top of that jar. But when you add fruit to that entire jar, you have to consume it within 14 days. I have had a protege in the past that shipped out SeaMoss gel with fruit. Someone got sick and there was a concern. And there was an issue with that. So they called me to find out what they can do, how they need to handle it. And luckily enough, well, not luckily, because they didn't have an expiration date, and expiration dates and stuff like that needs to be on your labels. In the business class that will precede this 3 series class, we'll talk more about how to create your labels and making sure that you know exactly the necessary regulations you need to know when creating your labels for SeaMoss products. So let's explore some competitors. I want you to take a look at this 19 companies. When you are looking at your labels, you're looking at the wordings. You're trying to design your business or get some ideas of how to move. You want to find a competitor and study what they're doing. Go to their website. Look at their label. Sometimes I even purchase their product to see what the package looked like, what the wording looked like. Sometimes when I create my label, I create my label off of what I am seeing a competitor have done. So let's do this. I want you to be able to write down at least 2 or 3. This is your homework. And then after this homework, I want you to write down 2 or 3 of these competitors on this list. And after you've watched this video, I want you to send me an email with what you have identified with those 3 competitors that will be useful for you. So we're going to go ahead and go to the Transform Factory. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can pull it up, and we're going to explore a little bit. Any questions? I'm talking a lot, so any questions? Any questions? You talking? Because I can't hear you.
Oh, I was on mute. No.
Any questions?
No.
No? Okay. Great information so far?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So for those of you that, oh, hi, Whitney, I see you. I didn't know. Whitney, have you heard everything we've said so far? Whitney, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm toggling back and forth. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I hear you fine.
Okay. Yes, I've been able to hear.
Okay, good. Very good.
What you've been saying.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and share screen again, and let's review and look at the Transform Factory. Now, if you didn't see the list, don't worry. I'm going to go back to that list, but I'm going to show you what we want to look for, some of the things that we want to identify when we're looking at our competitors. Now, you're going to find some pros and you're going to find some cons. You want to find, and then you also want to look, when you're doing this research, you want to look and find out what is it that you can do different to make your SeaMoss company stand out and be different. Okay. So with the transfer, and I've never done this with this company. So what we're going to explore today, we're exploring it together. Okay. All right. So first of all, I like the fact that when I pull them up, they have this information on the side, which means that they have their company properly registered. They probably have some professional photos. Yep, these are professional photos. I can kind of see the dimensions of the labels. That looks really good. And it also looks like they have fruit. Remember what I just said about that mango? So that means that these people,
Yes.
if you get this SeaMoss gel with that mango in there, you would need to eat this within 7 days. I make a mango sauce. I don't make the sauce and just stock it. I only make the SeaMoss when it's ordered, and I make it 24 hours before I ship it out. And the reason I do that is because the mango is only going to last 5 to 7 days, and it's going to be bad. It goes bad so fast. Now, looking over here, 2 months ago, this picture looks interesting. So this looks like they ordered some SeaMoss and it wasn't any good. I don't know what this is in this box. Oh, it burst. And more than likely, it did not burst. More than likely, it exploded in the box. Mango and pineapple will most certainly explode in excessive heat. If you're shipping it out, you need to make sure that you have proper cold packets, and it needs to be actually wrapped in, very well to where if it does explode, it's not exploding all over the place. So these people, they have some, first of all, these Nordics ice packs right here, they're no good. That's not the ones that you want to use. I use ice bricks. They put it in this paper right here, but for some reason, it still exploded. So this is why I do not do SeaMoss with fruit. It still exploded in the box. Now, and then one thing I can tell you, boy, you're going to get some bad reviews on your review, but way more than you get them good ones. So as you can see, we're looking at a whole lot of reviews. And the first one was 2 months ago. This is a year ago, and it's still exploding. Look at this one. So if it had been me, this is what I'm learning from this. If it had been me, one, I wouldn't put the fruit in it. Two, if these jars are glass, you most certainly don't want to use glass. But regardless, that fruit is going to go bad anyway. Look, it's still exploding. It's coming out. Wow, this is just 4 weeks ago. Look, in the refrigerator. You know what? I told you guys I've never explored this company before, but it's some information that I learned in the research when we start talking about the pros and cons that this is going to be great for. But to see the SeaMoss gel, that pineapple is in their refrigerator, it's acid, it's exploding. This is why you don't put fruit in the SeaMoss gel. The chart. Because guys, especially if you are selling the SeaMoss, it's a different thing if you made some SeaMoss for your friend, your family, or for yourself. You know you're gonna eat it quickly, and you're gonna eat it within 14 days, rah. But if you are selling it, this is a very high risk to do. And it also can be very expensive because if the customer receives their SeaMoss and they take it out the package and they put it in the refrigerator, and because it's mango or pineapple, in just a few days, it's going to turn out like that, you have to send that person more SeaMoss. And then you run the risk of it happening again. So this could become very costly. I don't know about other companies, but I have a customer relationship with my people. I don't ask questions. If something is not right, I'm going to replace it. And a lot of times I'm going to double the order or I'm going to take that loss. If my customer has taken a loss, then I am going to take a loss. So imagine if I'm selling all this SeaMoss with all this fruit in it, imagine how much loss I'm going to take. So this right here should give you some ideas of what you don't want to do when it comes to you and your SeaMoss business. And this is like a whole picture, a whole lot of that. All right. So, and it looks like, okay, so they do have Wildcraft SeaMoss down here. All right. So let's click on this and see what they're saying. Oh, lo and behold, I think this is the one that went on Shark Tank. Yeah, this is Shark Tank people. Okay, so The website looks great, you know? So if you're planning to build your website, you can take some ideas of how you want to position things on your website, you know, what type of pictures. Now, Miss Yvonne, at the beginning of the classes, I told you to write down 2 things. What were they? You're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, you said write down the vegan population and health and fitness population.
What do you see?
Yeah, you see the health and fitness population.
Exactly. They are marketing to the health and fitness population. So this clearly tells me that the Transformation Factory target audience is health and fitness. Yeah. Because when a person comes to your website, you want your target audience to be able to see themselves in your picture, in the picture on your website, in the picture on your items. Like, you want to be able to see them to see themselves. So if I was a health and wellness person, that's why I'm gaining this weight and ain't going nowhere yet, because I ain't health and wellness, right? If I was a health and wellness person, one second. If I was a health and wellness person, I would, oh, I forgot this. Let me let her know I'm in the class. Sorry about that, guys. Let me let mom know in class. And then let me put this on do not disturb. Okay, so if I was a health and wellness person and I look here and I'm like, oh, you know what? This is what I need, you know, because I'm going to see myself sitting here on here. So I really like the way the website looks. It's very professional. They have 100% professional pictures, photos have been taken with the fruit and things of that nature. They also have reviews on here. So a lot of times you may want to go in and look at the reviews. Another thing that you want to look at is look at how they're pricing it, right?
Yeah.
So that way you know that you want to be competitive, but don't make your prices competitive. Because if yours is way too low, then the customer could think then yours may not be as quality, you know,
right.
You know, may not have as much quality as this one has. Or if it's too high, well, I might as well go to Transformation Factory. You know, unless it's the people that you have developed and you've developed your customer base and they're going to shop with you regardless. Because I have a lot of people that know I've been doing this well before the pandemic, and to this day, they won't shop with anybody else. Okay. So you also want to look at the prices of what other companies are charging. Customers love the reviews are very important. Then they have shop products. They also have shop bundles. Bundles could also be very, you know, intriguing. But again, this tells me that the Transformation Factory is all about taste. I'm not about taste. I'm about health. I'm about saving money. Remember, my target audience is the woman with a family. And a woman with a family that wants to feed her children SeaMoss every day. If she puts that fruit in there, it's gonna go bad. She'll get more bang for her buck with not putting fruit in it. It lasts up to 45 days and she can put her own fruit in it. I'm thinking about that mom in the kitchen on Sunday, getting the food ready for the kids for the week. So she can be in the kitchen, getting the SeaMoss ready for the week. Right? So I like the fact they have some recipes up here, they have bundles, and then they also have our story, right? So this is the way that I want you guys to be able to go back, and I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint and bring that back up so you can write down the 3 companies that you are going to research for yourself and then send me an email and tell me what 3 things you have identified from those 3 companies that will be beneficial for you and your business. So you can, everybody can see it. You can see the 19 companies.
I saw,
No.
yeah, not
Okay.
again. You were freezing up.
Okay. Can you see it now, Whitney?
Now, yes.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So I want you to write down 3 of these companies. Research these companies. Look at their reviews. Look at their prices. Look at the verbiage. How are they explaining what it is? You know, because some of that verbiage you can be able to change around and use it for yourself.
One of the things I wanted to say about the transformation fitness is, or a question, and I guess I'll do this in part of my own research, is looking and see if they actually had the expiration date because those jars were exploding, and also the ingredients. I was wondering if they put a natural, maybe some preservatives in those, because I know that's something that you don't, recommend.
Yes.
And just paying attention to some of these companies who, maybe putting some unhealthy ingredients inside of their SeaMoss.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that too. With the industry labeling regulations, I'm going to give y'all secrets here. Companies are not required to put 100% of what's in their items on their labels. What is required is whatever the majority of the ingredient is has to be listed first in the ingredient list. Then whatever the second most is has to be listed second. So, for example, in my SeaMoss gel, the majority is the SeaMoss. So I put SeaMoss as number 1, put a comma, and then water, but spring water. And then that's it, because that's the only 2 things that's in there. But companies are not required to list everything. They have to list a minimum of 2 or 3. If it's more than 2 in there, they need to list 3, and they can stop at 3. That's number 1. Mm-hmm. Number 2, a lot of our community herbalists is selling SeaMoss are not aware of these types of things, so they don't list it at all. And nor will they list the expiration dates. And I'm going to give you a prime reason, because I'm in business. When you're in business, not only are you buying the jars, you're buying the tops of the jars, you're buying the SeaMoss, you're buying water, but you also have to buy those labels. And it could get very expensive when you're purchasing a bulk of labels, and then you don't sell that SeaMoss, and the expiration date you have on your label, you have all these labels that was never placed on jars. Then you make a new batch of SeaMoss and you're trying to use those old labels. Contest for me. Even now to this day, but I usually advise my customer, please forgive me, I'm using an older label, and I'll scratch out, I know that look a little ghetto sometimes, but I scratch out the expiration date and put the current expiration date in writing on it. So that way, at least the customer knows that. Because I myself, and I have to find a way to change that for me, I'll go and have all these labels printed, and I'll make the SeaMoss that I need, get the SeaMoss out to the customer or take it to my vendors. And then I got all these labels. And here I'm coming making another batch, and I don't want to go spend no money on buying more labels just because the date needs to change. So to avoid that, a lot of people do not put the expiration date on there at all, trying to save money. Because according to the FDA, you must have an expiration date. You must have the ingredients. And you must have nutritional facts. if you're going to be FDA compliant. Because if somebody called the FDA and reported your product, or if someone came across your product and you are not meeting those labeling requirements, then this is how you know when you go to the FDA and you see their recall list. Y'all ever see that?
Yes.
And that's how you hit the recall list. Oh, thank you, Whitney. All right. So it's easy, but I'd rather do the right thing and just let you know before you get your package. Hey, excuse the label. I wrote it in, because I got all these labels and it's just older labels because my labels didn't come in. It's always something with me with labels. I ain't gonna lie. You know about that. But I spent a lot of money on printing those labels. And yet I don't want to have these big old stringent prices to my target audience, because again, my target audience is a woman that's taking care of her family. So everything that I do in my business, I'm considering the behavior and what the woman is having to go through with taking care of her family, because that's my target audience. Make sense?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Y'all got y'all 3 companies down?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so what are the projected concerns in the SeaMoss industry? Although it is skyrocketing and it's everywhere and everybody is talking about it. Remember I told you guys about data? Data is what every major business uses to make decisions, all the way down to how you move on Facebook. You ever see on Facebook when you Google something and then you on your Facebook page and then the advertisement to what you Google come on your Facebook page?
All the
Yeah.
time.
All right. That is because Facebook uses the data and they sell that data. You know the grocery store Kroger?
Yes.
Okay, Kroger, the top revenue from Kroger is not buying the grocery. They make money from it, but that's not where their money comes from. Their money comes from the data that they sell to companies based on who is buying what and how much they're buying it and how often they buy it. That's where their money comes from. As a matter of fact, the report that I'm giving you the information from right now, the preliminary information, that report, the full report, costs $1,500.
Wow.
So these major companies, they purchase that data. They purchase the information to see the movement of what is being spent, how, when, what time, which is why there's holidays, because on holidays, it's a money market. You're going to spend money on Valentine's Day. You're going to spend money on Christmas, So they use that data to move how you are going to shop and when to advertise to you, how to advertise to you, and, project things. So the thing about SeaMoss, although that it is the most talked about, and there's an increase in growth by 14%, there's no solidified scientific research on it. So these major companies are tapping into SeaMoss because we buying it and we talking about it. And it's one of the top topics being searched on the internet. So since people are talking about it and we're buying it, then they're tapping into what the industry is buying, especially the African American people, because we are the consumers of this country. But they have no official scientific research on it. So because of that, they are afraid in the industry that this is going to be a setback, a possible setback. is to come in the future, is what they're afraid of as of today. They're also saying that the projected concerns is there's so much competition. Me, I don't believe in competition. There is a group of people that Yvonne could get to that I can't get to. There's a group of people that Whitney can get to that me nor Yvonne can get to. My intention has always been to bring awareness and to educate. And the more people that I can help to aware and educate is the more people know about it and know the facts about it and understand the benefits of it. It don't always have to be me. Right now, I saw the dollar amount. Since this is a vegan population, they are projecting that it's nearly 1.5 million vegans, and that grows by 200% every year, right? The SeaMoss industry, seen that number earlier, I should have wrote it down, 1 second. $326 million industry. $326 million industry. So you got $326 million industry. There's no solidified scientific research. Everybody trying to tap into the $1 million industry, and there's a whole bunch of lack of knowledge. And although you know about it, I know about it, I've sold it to thousands of people, you would not believe the amount of people still have no idea what SeaMoss is. Because, honey, it'd be the funniest thing when I come through customs in that airport and they open up my luggage and they grill me on what SeaMoss. That'd be the funniest thing. And here I am in the airport in customs trying to educate the people on what SeaMoss is. I go to the cell phone store to get a new cell phone, and I'm educating the man on what SeaMoss is. He gets the SeaMoss and no pain. So I don't want you to ever get to the point where you feel like it's too many people doing it. Back in 2016 in the Sabin Alkaline Hall group, my vision was to have a person that's still educate or help a person that's selling herbs and or SeaMoss on every block. Because that means more people is consuming it and more people are healing. But what is happening now since the pandemic, you have those money-driven individuals that's tapping into it, that's giving false information, not giving you the proper cautions about it, and then putting all this fruit in it. I personally know a company here. Not only does he put the fruit in it, he put raw sugar. Oh, it's natural. It's still sugar.
Oh my goodness.
In it. So when people tasting it, and I don't know if you guys know this research either, sugar is addictive. You put sugar in anything, people love it. So.
Mm-hmm.
And when people love it, they're gonna come back and buy it again, buy it again, buy it again, buy it again. So you out here, people tasting it, and they eating SeaMoss with some fruit, and then on top of that, fruit already has natural sugar.
Yeah.
So when you put sugar on top of the sugar that's in the fruit, and you're continuing to eat it, eventually you're gonna see what the short-term benefits that you was getting from it is gonna turn into a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But because the individual do not have as much detailed information that I know, you just willy-nilly out here.
Mhm.
right? So awareness. And the other thing that's a projected concern, and I want you to know these projected concerns because these are marketing tips for you. When you talk to individuals, you let them know about these concerns, and then you are the expert. And you're doing it safely, and you're giving them the proper information. Shelf life with the products. Shelf life with the products. I know a lot of people that buy the SeaMoss, they're not consistent with it and sit in a refrigerator for months. And 6 months down the line, oh, can I still use? Absolutely not. Because you then gonna start, it's water. Water over time will accumulate bacteria. So then you're gonna start seeing little black fuzzy things in swimming in it. And the most disgusting thing about it, I hope this don't turn y'all off. Sometimes when I'm making new SeaMoss, I'll make the gel and I put it in the back of my refrigerator because I want to see what it's doing over time. When I got the purple SeaMoss from St. Lucia, which is the farm raised SeaMoss, I left it in my refrigerator. At month 5, I saw worms in that whole jar.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I wish I took a picture of it. I should have took a picture of it, but I didn't. I probably did take a picture of it, but I got so many pictures now I probably can't. I probably can't find it, but I'm gonna see if I can find it. Worms. I was like, wait a minute, because at that time I knew it was something with this SeaMoss, but I just couldn't. It just wasn't sitting right with me for a while. But like I said, but after I couldn't get to Haiti to get my SeaMoss, and people was buying the St. Lucia SeaMoss, I went with it. So I went with it, and I set it in my refrigerator. And month 5, the jar was full of parasites that was crawling in the SeaMoss gel.
Wow.
No cap. And I was like, I knew it was something with the SeaMoss. So when it comes to the St. Lucia farm raised SeaMoss, your expiration date most certainly cannot exceed 45 days.
Mm-hmm.
With natural SeaMoss, you're just gonna see mold, little black spots.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you're gonna see. You're not gonna see no parasites in natural SeaMoss. So these are the projected concerns that the industry is worried about. See, these people tapping into it because that's what we buy, but they don't quite understand it. Mm. They don't quite, know how to market to it because this is something that the African Americans then picked up and skyrocketed with. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to tap into it and they're trying to understand it. Well, the basis of me with this series is for us to be able to get some type of segue to stay ahead of this market. So yes, y'all think it's going to be a setback and it's going to kind of dwindle down later on. I'm going to let y'all keep thinking it's going to dwindle down later on. That's the reason I'm traveling countries to make sure that we're going to always have it. And you're going to have the right information that you're going to provide to your people. All right? All right, so lastly, which I don't have that on the side, is cooking with SeaMoss and products. So in the previous class, we talked about different things that the SeaMoss was good for. SeaMoss is good for your hair. I take the plain SeaMoss gel, I add some vitamin E oil, grapeseed oil, and I put it on my scalp. Condition my hair with it. I twist my hair with it. I have yet to see, I did make it, but I wasn't consistent with it with this restaurant. A SeaMoss twist and lock product. SeaMoss is so versatile, you can make anything with SeaMoss. I have seen SeaMoss toothpaste. You know, the market, when it comes to the conscious people, we're very conscious of consuming things with fluoride and not toothpaste. When you're thinking about what you can create with SeaMoss outside of just the gel, don't think, oh, there's already a SeaMoss toothpaste. Colgate ain't said that. When Sensodyne came out with it, they said, oh, Colgate. You know, the more it's out there and we take heed and keep ahead of the industry, the more we can remain in control of it. I have SeaMoss soaps. All of my soaps are made with SeaMoss. There's SeaMoss powder. SeaMoss powder is best to bake with in place of yeast. So a lot of vegans that do cook vegan food, they'll still use the yeast and the cornstarch. You can use a SeaMoss powder for that. When it comes to making gravies or gels or something that's soft or ice cream, milk, that's one of the things in the industry. Let me go over some of the things in the industry that they use it for. A lot of plant-based milks have SeaMoss in it now. Toothpaste, lotions, baby formulas and products, baby foods. 58% of the market is the SeaMoss gel. So that is the largest of the market that's being sold, is SeaMoss gel. The next to the largest is the capsules. The capsules are 19%. So 58% is the gel being sold. 19% is the capsules being sold. What's very most popular and people are researching, but they are concerned with because of the shelf life concern, is the gummies. And then SeaMoss powder, and then raw SeaMoss. And it doesn't surprise me that raw SeaMoss is least on the list, because when you purchase a pound of SeaMoss like you guys have done, look at all the stuff that you could do with 1 pound. It is going to outweigh the market and how the market is studying what we're buying. Because you're taking the raw SeaMoss, you're mixing it to make a lotion. You're mixing it to make a lip gloss. I got a lip gloss. I got a shampoo. I have a hand wash. I have a bottle of it sitting in my shower where I bathe, liquid soap. And with all that, I take the SeaMoss gel. I add more water to it to where it's liquefied. And then you just put your soapy substance. A natural soap, a natural unscented, they sell it, natural unscented liquid soap. You add your SeaMoss to it, and if you want to smell to it, you add an essential oil to it. Lotions, they sell unscented natural lotions in gallons. Add SeaMoss to it, add a scent. Everything that is sold on the market, there's a base for you to be able to create it or for you to purchase it. And you add SeaMoss to it. So I have a young lady, that's all she do. And don't necessarily try to do all the steps yourself. I have a young lady that loves to make soaps and all that. So she makes my soap, she makes my lip gloss, she makes my shampoo, she makes my hand soap. So she makes all my SeaMoss body care. And that's what she does. And when she make it for me, she bottle it, and then I put my private label on it. So the market is still untouched. If it is $326 million right now, by the time I educate thousands more of people with this series, we can stay ahead of this market. Let them people remain afraid, but we know how and what to do to move ahead. If you're baking something like a bread, you use the SeaMoss powder. But anything that you need that's wet or sticky or, just the consistency, be creative and the mind. But you can add SeaMoss to everything. So you can expand that 1 or 2 pounds to way more than what you thought about before you took this class tonight. So I know this is a lot of information. Give me some feedback. What y'all took from it? What's important?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you could go ahead.
No, I took a lot of stuff, but I do have some questions.
Yes.
About the liquid soap and like the lotions and the body butters. When you add like the SeaMoss gel to it, do you have to add something to allow it to have a longer shelf life, or does it pretty much how long does it last?
I'm glad you asked that question. So with mine, I've had it now for, I want to say maybe 3 months. I test because I like giving facts. It's still good.
Okay.
And there's no preservative in it. What we do is we take the gel, and you know how when you clean in it or you making the gel, I'll tell you have to put the same amount of the water level to the level of the SeaMoss. Well, we put way more water because we don't want it to gel up like that. We want it to be, liquefied.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And since we want it to be liquefied, we're able to add the natural unscented liquid soap to it to make it soapy.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is the shelf life for when you like the dry SeaMoss that, I buy from you? How long could I keep it in that bag?
The dry SeaMoss never expires. If it's dry, it will never expire. It's only going to start at the expiration time frame, and that's still a long time when you get water to it.
Okay.
So once you add that water to it, you have up to 45 days.
Okay.
Okay. But if it's dry in that pack, out the pack, wherever it's at, if it's dry, so that's why you want to store it in a cool, dry place. You don't want to store it inside the refrigerator because, of course, it's going to get moist. Then you got an issue. But as long as it's dry, it never expires.
Okay. Okay. All right.
As a matter of fact, I had it in the car. I just went to go pick up some old SeaMoss samples that I had years ago. Baby, that SeaMoss still beautiful. When I taught with my first class in person here in Jacksonville, and that's been about 2 years ago, and that SeaMoss still looks good.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions?
Is there a particular ratio when it comes to making body care products? Because I think I'm leaning more towards body care, hair care, beard care, around that type of product line.
Right. So you
as far as
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna say, as far as ratio goes, when it comes to adding, your SeaMoss to whatever solid, I'm calling it solid, but it could be liquid, but whatever your base product is, that's better. Whatever your base product is, is there like a, you know, 1/3, or I don't know, is there any particular type of ratio? Or is it kind of just more so intuition or
Right.
any?
I think because you are the leader into this market, that's something that you want to trial and error. The reason I say
Okay.
that is because the young lady that makes my soap and make all my hair and body and all and body care SeaMoss items, like I said, that's all she does. And when I introduced to her putting the SeaMoss in the product, and she said, "But how would I liquefy?" And I told her exactly what I told you. She figured out the rest. Because whatever it is that you're passionate about and you're very passionate, you're going to find out.
Mhm.
And the
Okay.
best way for you to find that out is through trial and error. Because I don't make it, sort of say. I have someone that makes it for me because that's all she do. Now, if you ask me something about cooking, I probably couldn't tell you that. That's intuition for me. That's one of the reasons why I did no cookbook yet, because me with the measurement, I don't know. It's all intuition with me when it comes to how much I'm putting in there. And then as I'm cooking, I'm tasting to make sure that the taste is right where it needs to be at that moment. So, it's up to you. But I know if you need to use it a liquid form, you're just going to add more water to it to liquefy it and then do whatever it is that you need to do with it. Now, what I will do is
Okay.
when I go and pick up my next round of soaps, I'll ask her if she's willing or does she have some available classes available. And if she does, I'll
Mhm.
send that email out to you and let you know.
Okay.
If you don't get an email from me, then that means she probably said no or I ain't talked to her yet. All right. But
Okay.
other than that, I'll ask her, does she plan on offering classes on how to make those products? And then YouTube. This is where you want to do your research so you are that expert. Because the trial and error and you being able to experience these things yourself makes you the expert and it makes it easier for you to sell your product.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I always thought before now that I had to, after I cleaned my SeaMoss, I had to heat it to get it to gel. Now I'm saying no. All I got to do is mix it with spring water, put it in the blender, and it just gels on its own. Is that it?
The St. Lucia farm raised SeaMoss, you do need to heat the water.
Oh,
Because this
you
is going to
do?
Mm-hmm.
happen with that farm raised SeaMoss. If you boil it, it's going to come out boiled and mushy. So you're
Okay.
going to put the clean farm raised SeaMoss in the blender, and you're going to add hot boiling water in the blender, and it'll gel.
Okay. Oh, okay.
With the natural SeaMoss, the original law natural SeaMoss, you got to put that on the
Mhm.
stove and bring that to a boil.
Oh, you do?
Yes, because it's more coarse. And because you don't have that SeaMoss, you're not going to be able to identify what I'm saying. Because it's coarse.
Okay.
It's more nutrient dense. It is much, much more stronger than the farm raised SeaMoss. And you have to
Okay.
apply heat to it in order for it to break down to gel up.
Okay.
But that farm raised is a process. That's a man-made SeaMoss. So you just add hot water and blend. I had an issue with that when I first got. I was like, this is too easy. Something ain't right.
Mhm.
I was so concerned in the beginning, but like I said, Haiti went in a really rough spot, and I couldn't get to Haiti to get any SeaMoss. So I had to go, and then the St. Lucia SeaMoss just took off in the country, and that's what everybody was on. So I sold it for a while, and people still
Mhm.
buying it. So I'm gonna go to St. Lucia and get it. It is farm raised,
Mhm.
it's not fake. It's farm raised, and it's different,
Mhm.
and it's just not as strong as the more natural SeaMoss is.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, ladies. So I hope you enjoyed this information tonight. So this does include the 3 series SeaMoss class. And of course, these 3 classes will be packaged and provided to the public at a later time. What will come up next will be an 8-week business course. In this business course, I'm going to walk you guys through setting up your businesses, making sure that you have the proper regulations. We'll go over labels, business strategies, business plans, target audience. It's all about establishing your business in that 8-week course. And of course, that 8-week course will cost a little bit more, and you will have the opportunity to pay for that course over a monthly basis. I'll be traveling to New Orleans next week, so unfortunately, I won't meet my July 1st deadline with completing the website. But we will not be traveling for at least about a month or so when we come back from New Orleans. So that will give me the opportunity to complete the original lost site, where you guys will be able to purchase. Because again, I won't be selling SeaMoss to the public anymore. I'll only be selling SeaMoss to businesses and current customers, because I want to be able to create more content, more educational things like I'm doing right now, so that way we can stay factual and stay ahead of the industry. Somewhere maybe mid-July or towards the end of July, you will get an email advising you about the 8-week business course. I've done this business course before. I had 5 graduates from that course that were very successful after they completed that course. And it's going to be very, very beneficial for you to participate in that course once it does come out. All right. So for those of you that were not able to attend the class tonight, this is your recording. If you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to send me an email, or you can contact me. You should have my cell phone number. Right now, pre-orders are open for both St. Lucia and Haiti SeaMoss. I did say I won't be traveling. I actually am traveling. On the 17th, I'm going back to Haiti to pick up, but I'm only going to be gone for 2 days. And then the week after that, I'll be going to St. Lucia to pick up. But again, that's only 3 to 4 days I'll be gone to go pick up. So the pre-orders are out. Right now, I have a deal where if you're getting 10 pounds or more, it's only $20 per pound. And if you're getting one less than 10 pounds, it's $30 per pound. Once I have reached the 100 pounds reserve, those prices will change. And you can go to Auntie Vegan to make your purchase. But if it's 10 pounds or more, you will need to contact me, text me, or inbox me so I can send you the invoice for that bulk price. I have been in contact with someone in Peru, right? So we'll see how that goes. If I'm able to get over to Peru and get some of that. And they have Condis Crispus in Peru. It's all this beautiful. It's nice and short, all 100% Condis Crispus. So when I talked to him, I did talk to him, but it sounded like he didn't want me to come over there, and I'm wondering why. So I'll just ship it to your door. Okay, I do want you to ship it to my door, but before you ship it to my door, I want to come over there. I want to see. So I'm talking to him to see if I can tap into that. We do have plans for Dominican Republic. I actually have 2 people there right now trying to establish a team. So I'll probably have to get over to Dominican Republic sometime in August or September. And I'm trying to find a contact for Belize. So in the next year, baby, I'm gonna be all over the country. I'm gonna be all over the world, making sure that we stay ahead of the game when it comes to SeaMoss by any means necessary. So I love you guys. Contact me, anything or any suggestions to make things better or change, contact me. This does not mean if you have SeaMoss questions, you don't reach out to me. You absolutely reach out to me, and I'm here to support you. I'm here to answer any questions. If you need assistance with establishing your website, establishing your logos, or whatever the case may be, don't hesitate to send me an inbox, and we can work that out as well. All right?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You ladies have a good night.
You
And remember, you are the SeaMoss expert.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.